Hello everyone, I am Juanpa Valdivia from The Construct. In this video we will learn how to transfer a simulation from Gazebo Classic to Gazebo Sim. Okay, let's start. So first we are gonna talk about why is this important? Why I need to transfer from Gazebo Classic to Gazebo Sim. This is because starting from Jazzy, there's a new plan to integrate ROS2 with Gazebo Sim, and Gazebo Classic will not be supported anymore starting from Jazzy distribution. So now we need to transfer all our simulations in Gazebo Classic to Gazebo Sim. And how are we gonna do that? We are gonna see it in this video. So the Gazebo Ignition is the same as Gazebo Sim, with it was this previous icon. Now they changed it to the old one in Gazebo. And now first we're gonna start with the section 1. That we're gonna see the example environment that is a simple ROSbot-XL in a Fusarium logo world. That is very simple, and this one is using Gazebo Classic. And from this robot we're gonna transfer all the files and everything to be able to run in Gazebo Sim. So let's start with this robot. So we're gonna open this ROSject, and I'm gonna launch this bash file. That basically this is gonna run this launch file that we're gonna see later. And let's open it to see what do we have. So I have the file in scripts and then launch ROSbot, and let's see the simulation. So remember, this is the simulation in Gazebo Classic. So we open this window to see the simulation. Here we are. So the robot is still loading, don't worry. So this is the environment, the example environment that we're gonna use. It's a Fusarium logo and our ROSbot. So here is the ROSbot, and what do we have available? So let's see the topics that we have. So with this, let's do topic list. Okay, we have SimDevel, we have the scan, we have the emu, and yes, okay. So let's see RBs to see if everything is working fine. So I have a pre-configured config file in RBs that is called ROSbot. Let's see, yes, ROSbot.RBs. And let's see. So here's the robot model. Also, we can see that the LiDAR is detecting the walls of the environment, so it looks good. Oops, too much. So the laser scan is subscribed to this topic, scan out. Okay, let's see if we can move the robot now. So ROS2, and let's run the teleoperation twist node. Keyboard, and we run okay. So let's move this robot. Okay, we can move the robot, we can turn, we can go move backwards, move forward. Perfect. So this is the simulation in Gazebo Classic, and now we're gonna see how to pass from this robot and to use Gazebo Sim now. And in the section 2, we're gonna see all the files to to pass from Gazebo Classic to Gazebo Sim. Okay, now let's see the files that we need to change in Gazebo Classic to be able to work in Gazebo Sim. So first we're gonna start with the launch file, the one that we already ran before, and it has some little changes that we need to consider. So let's see. Let me stop this first. Okay, and this is the launch file that we ran before. Is Gazebo Classic, and this is a very basic launch file. Let me expand this to see better. And here we have some parameters: the world file, the path where we have our URDF of the robot, what's the name of the package from the robot, and this is important, this is the package name of Gazebo. So in this case we are running Gazebo Web, so we are using Gazebo ROS package. This is one thing that is gonna change. And also we have the coordinates where we spawn the robot, and some configuration variables, and some more specifications. And here we have the robot state publisher, and here. So this is the part where we start Gazebo server or Gazebo web. So this is the most important part that is gonna change in Gazebo Sim. Also, it's gonna change how we launch the robot. We're not gonna use Gazebo ROS and not gonna use spawn entity, the script. So yeah, this is the very basic launch file. You may have a very long one, but I simplified just to explain the important differences. So now let's see the Gazebo Sim launch file. So it has some little changes. So far it's the same, except by the package that we're gonna call to start the simulation. So before it was Gazebo ROS, and now we're gonna call it Jazzy Sim. So this package is gonna run the Gazebo Sim simulator. And here is the same, and here where we have the Gazebo server declaration, now we have to write this to open the Gazebo Sim. So it's a little different. The main difference is that this one is calling Jazzy Sim launch, the launch file, in the package that we specify here, that I told you, the ROS Jazzy Sim. So instead of running Jazzy server from the package Gazebo ROS, we're gonna launch now Jazzy Sim launch file in the package ROS Jazzy Sim, and some variable that is different now in Gazebo Sim. So we call it like this, and we have the world path different. Okay, and the other big difference is how we spawn the robot. So to spawn the robot, now we're gonna use the same package, but we're gonna use spawn.launch.py, and here we have spawn entity from Gazebo ROS. But now this spawn file is gonna do all the robot publisher, the state publisher, and the rest of the controllers. So that's the difference in the spawn robot. And the rest is the same. The coordinates where to spawn the robot, and the simulation engine is gonna be, you can pass it in an argument, but we can see later that it's not going to be important in our case. Yeah, so that's the two main differences in Jazzy Sim and Gazebo Classic. So now let's see the URDF robot file. Then in the URDF robot files, you may have some changes, particularly updating the parameters or some plugins that now we call it different in Gazebo Sim. So let's see them. So the URDF that is we are gonna run, that we are using already, is ROSbot URDF Sacro, and this one is in ROSbot description URDF, and here we have. Let's mix this. Okay. So in some robot descriptions, you may have a parameter called a simulation engine that is gonna be similar to this here. It's gonna, maybe you may have this parameter that is called simulation engine. In this case, you don't need to do anything in the URDF. You just call the simulation engine that you are using, and all the parameters and all the differences is gonna make it for you. But in this case, it's gonna be a general case where we don't have this integrated in our URDF, so we're not gonna use it, because here you can just put Gazebo Classic and, for example, Gazebo Classic, and all the differences is gonna be made by this variable. But in this case, let's see all the differences and change it manually to have a better understanding what we need to change. So let's see. Here we're using this URDF for the wheels and the controllers. We also have the LiDAR, that we have some important changes there. And yep, that's it. So let's start with this launch file. Sorry, URDF file. Okay, so in this URDF file, we have the definition of the wheels and the controllers. So here there are some differences that we have to change. So we have a body, gazebo. Okay, here we have the wheels definition, the ROS control, that is the same. So we have the declaration of the wheel joints, and here. So here we have the plugin for the differential drive. So now in Gazebo Sim, this one cannot be used. So we're gonna remove it or comment it for now, and the email link is also not gonna be used. So we're gonna comment all this, and instead of this, we're gonna simply call this these two lines, that is the Gazebo controller, and it's gonna launch, or it's gonna open a controller config file. And in the config file, we have all the configurations of the wheels joints, the wheel separation, the wheel diameter, that everything that we specified before in Gazebo Classic, we're gonna use it inside the config file. And the same for the Gazebo emu. We're just gonna use the reference frame and in this simple line. And the controller file is ROSbot controller config differential drive controller. Let's double check where we are using this file, config file. This comes from this main URDF. And yes, to make sure, ROSbot-XL controller. So this package, config, differential drive controller. And here we have. So as I told you before, this manages the drive controller, and here we specified all the parameters of the robot. So the 4 wheels joints, the wheels separation, the radius, a multiplier, the publish rate, the odometry frame, the base frame, and all the parameters are specified here. So that's the big change, and in that case, only with these 2 lines, we are able to run the controller in Gazebo Sim. So now let's see the LiDAR URDF. So the LiDAR URDF is in ROS component description package. Component description package, URDF, and Slamdeck LiDAR. Okay, let's see. Sorry. So far we have the joints, this is the meshes of the LiDAR, head collision, and here. Okay, this is also gonna change. So now we have to change the sensor type. So instead of ray, we're gonna change it to GPU LiDAR instead of ray that is using as CPU. So now we are gonna change it to GPU LiDAR. In the case that you are not using GPU, you'll have to still call it GPU LiDAR, because that's how it works in Gazebo Sim. It only uses the GPU LiDAR, cannot be run in the other case. And also we have to use these 3 lines here. So we have to specify the frame ID and the ignition frame ID. This is some extra lines that we have to add. And the rest is the same. So it's gonna have the frame name, the output type, and we are ready to go. Only these 2 small changes. And now we are ready to test our simulation in Gazebo Sim. So let's see if everything is working. So now we're not gonna call this launch file, we're gonna see the Jazzy Sim launch file. So we're gonna launch this, and let's see so we're gonna open this launch file now. Oops, sorry. I'm sorry, I was forgetting one important file that is gonna change now, and that is the world file. We have to do some changes in the world file because the format is a bit different. So let's see them. So previously we have in Gazebo Classic Osarion world.world, that is this file that we're gonna open now. Is in Gazebo description worlds Osarion world.world. So this is the file. I have commented the changes. Okay, so this is the file that it is very simple. It has a ground plane. It's gonna call this model Osarion logo, and some lights and some directions and visuals, and this ROS state. So it's just that. And now in Gazebo Sim we have useROSbot-XL. So now we are gonna use only SDF to launch the worlds, and the only difference is this one, that we're gonna open this, and we need to specify these plugins, and we cannot import from a model. So this we are calling the model Husarion logo that is inside of this. So this model has an SDF, and in this SDF I'm calling these model files, and we cannot do that now in Gazebo Sim. We have to specify all the SDF inside of the world. So we have the SDF here, and the same the lights declaration, and without this plugin. This plugin is not used anymore, and instead of that plugin we have to write these other plugins. So here, ignition gazebo contact system, the EMU system, the physics system, the scene broadcaster, sensors, and user commands. So if we have this, we're gonna have no problems to launch our world. So yes, so this was the other change. So now let's run Gazebo Sim to see if everything is working fine. So our launch file now is gonna, our bash file is gonna launch Gazebo Sim launch file. And before we didn't compile because I already did it, but every time you make a change, remember to compile and source your environment. So now I made some changes, and I'm gonna compile and source. So conn build, and now source installs the bash. Now we can run our bash script. And if everything is working fine, it should launch now Gazebo Sim in this window. And let's open this full window, and this is it. Okay, great. So it's the same Husarion logo world, and it looks a bit different because of some changes in the simulator, and also this is a bit slower, so it requires more resources. So it's highly recommended to use GPU for this simulator. I'm not using one, that's why it's a bit slow. So use GPU if you're gonna use this simulator. And let's zoom a little bit, and here is our ROSbot. Now let's see if we can move the ROSbot and the controllers are okay. So let's see RVs to see. Let's see the topic first. Okay, so we have SimDevel, we have some cameras, we have a lot of more topics, the odometry and the scan. Okay, looks good. Now let's see RVs, the same file as before. Now ROSbot RVs. Okay, and if you notice, now the topic is scan without this out. So if we change to this, we should be able to subscribe to the scan. Okay, perfect. The LiDAR is recognizing the walls of Husarion world. And now let's see if we can move the robot. Let's see teleoperation again. And this, remember, this is subscribed for the topic SimDevel. So if you have a different topic name, this node won't work, and you have to use a different one. Okay, so let's see if we can move the robot. Okay, let's move forward. Let's turn. Great, it's turning. Let's move backwards. Sorry, wrong key. Now yes. Perfect, so it's moving in all directions, forward, backwards, and everything is working fine. Perfect, so we have now our robot that it was in Gazebo Classic, now we have it in Gazebo Sim, and it will be updated, so perfect. And yes, we cover all the topics, so I hope everything is explained good, and let me know in the comments if you prefer Gazebo Sim or Gazebo Classic. And yeah, also here in Deconstruct, you can create your own project in Jazzy distribution now. So if you want to try yourself to pass from Gazebo Classic to Gazebo Sim, now you can use it. You can build your own ROSbot in Jazzy distribution, create new project, personal project, and then you select the new Jazzy distribution. Okay, and that's all. I hope you enjoyed the video, and goodbye. I see you next time. Bye.